Hey everybody, how's it going? Today is actually going to be my first ever video, and I'm going to be reviewing a Serbian film. I want to take first off just to apologise. There's like a little tiny red dot on the screen there. I don't know what it is. There's something wrong with my camera at the moment. I want to start straight away by just kind of ushering a warning to people. This is a very harsh movie, and I heard a lot of things about this movie as to it being the sickest movie ever made and disgusting and inhuman and all that sort of stuff. And to a certain extent I must agree, it is a fairly gruesome and disgusting movie, and for people who are squeamish and can't really handle harsh subject matter, I would say to either stay away from it or to kind of watch as much as you can before turning it off, because everyone's going to have a different reaction to another movie than someone else. So it has been compared to the likes of, you know, Human Centipede for being so disgusting, and if you can think of other brutal movies such as Martyrs or Frontiers or Switchblade Romance, those kind of torture porn movies. But to be honest, this is a lot more sadistic and a lot more harsh than the rest of those movies. So if you obviously couldn't handle those movies, I am definitely saying to you to stay away from this movie. Of the film, like the plot, it's directed by Srdjan Spasojevic, and it's basically about a porn star who has basically run through his career. He's at the end of his career and he hasn't worked for some time, and his family raises, well, mainly his wife raises the question of, you know, will you have enough money to look after our family in the near future or in the future in general? And the main character basically hears from another porn star that he worked with that there's this director who is looking for a well-renowned porn star to come and star in what he considers the ultimate porn movie. First off, I don't really want to give away too much about the movie because it is a review after all, and I think a lot of people should, if they have the idea to see the movie, should see the movie without anything being spoiled. But the DVD I own of A Serbian Film starts off with a small interview by Srdjan, and he basically claims that the movie is political. And to a certain extent, some of the graphic imagery and the ideas behind the stuff in it are political. Like, you can see exactly where they are, but the majority of this movie is a relentless barrage by someone, to me, that I feel has just set out with the inhibition of creating one of the sickest movies ever made. And there's one infamous scene in a movie that I'm sure a lot of people have probably heard of, but for those who haven't, I don't want to spoil it. It involves a pregnant mother and what happens afterwards. And that scene in particular, Srdjan said in that little interview snippet that that was basically his imagery of what happens, his imagery of Serbia as a nation raping its people and treating them like shit. As a whole, I think Srdjan probably realised he had made such a controversial and relentless movie that he had tried to kind of justify it somehow by saying it was political, but it is, in my opinion, nowhere near political. One or two scenes cannot justify a movie as political when it's this gory and gruesome. Well, not gory, sorry, but just gruesome and sick in general. It's pretty twisted. There's 2 or 3 shocking scenes, and one of them involves, as the director in the movie says, happy family, and it's towards the end of the movie. And I honestly, whatever about people saying, you know, the mother scene in the movie and what happens afterwards being one of the sickest things they have ever seen, yes, it is very sick, but you don't see a lot, especially not in the uncut version, which I have right here. it's more something that gets inside your head and just fucks around with you psychologically. But that scene at the end, the happy family scene, is probably the most disturbing scene I've seen in quite a while. When it reveals what it actually is, I just felt entirely sickened, and I didn't really want to see the ending, but I had heard so much that it was just such a twisted ending and very fucked up, which I have to agree it was. It is a very weird and sadistic ending. I've heard a lot of people turn around and say, oh yeah, it's not as sick as it's made out to be, and this, and oh, that scene wasn't as bad as the question I asked you is, have you seen the uncut version? The version that was released in the cinema was not as bad as the uncut version. Yes, I had some terrible imagery and cutaway scenes from violence and stuff that kind of got psychological, but the uncut version is a seriously twisted version, and the movie in general is seriously twisted. So to compare it to the likes of The Human Centipede and stuff is absolutely ridiculous, because to me I felt The Human Centipede was completely tame and didn't do anything that hasn't been done before, whereas this movie is so realistic and controversial that it just attacks the senses straight away. It's a pure assault on the senses. And for any fan or horror fan who wishes to see that, I recommend you see this movie. To talk about what I liked in the movie. Okay. I liked the movie in general. It's not a bad movie in any way. Yes, it is a seriously sadistic and gruesome movie, but at the heart of it, it's just, to me, it's like another exploitation flick or another torture porn flick or whatever. It's not great on plot or substance, but in regards to the film itself, I think it's a lot about style, but style in this movie can be replaced by the word gruesome and sick and twisted, because it is, at the end of the day. I liked the characters in this movie. By the end of the movie, you do feel a lot for the characters in the movie, and yes, it comes a lot down to what they've been put through and how sick and demented this is, but at the same time, when the movie started, it wasn't a case of 30-40 minutes in, when the gruesome stuff started, that I didn't care for the characters or just had no connection with them. I thought the characters in the movie are well acted, the actors were fine, there was nothing wrong with them, and the first 30 to 40 minutes was fine, you know what I mean? Like, it actually developed something which I liked. What I really don't like about this movie is the political message that Srdjan apparently has behind the movie. To me, it's kind of wanting to put a reason behind something when there's no need to put a reason behind film or certain horrors such as this. A lot of people will just watch these horror movies because, you know, they want to see the ultimate thrill or whatever. You don't have to put these political messages behind them and try and justify what you're doing. I didn't like that aspect, and another aspect I didn't like was the pacing of the movie. The first 30-40 minutes are okay, they go quickly enough because character development and stuff, but I have to say, even though it's shocking and you would kind of regard the shocking scenes as wanting them to be fast-paced and in your face and stuff, the pacing of the movie around the 40-minute to an hour mark and then on is very, very slow. I found myself in the last 15-20 minutes more so feeling like 40 minutes, building up to that end, and I kind of was like, you know, you've created such a sick movie, you should keep a fast pace throughout. But to be honest, he never achieved that at the start of the movie, and to me, just the pacing in general is very, very slow. A Serbian Film. I would give it 3 out of 5. My reason for giving it 3 stars is that the first 30-40 minutes are great regards character development, and it does have sick twisted imagery that to me I set out to see in the first place, so I wasn't let down by how sick and twisted it is. And I have to say, the ending, although gruesome and twisted and pretty fucked up, I did really like the ending of the movie. It's not a bad movie. It's very well directed. Maybe not in the terms of plot and political stance and stuff, but stylistically, camera movements, everything like that, score, lighting, they all make it dark and they all make it feel gruesome, and it's pretty well directed. Keeping into account it's not for everyone, it's a pretty desperate and twisted movie. So yeah, basically that's it, I guess. And it is my first video, so if you could leave a comment or even like, and it would give me initiative to do more videos and talk about more movies. And cheers, thanks for watching.